I know it's only you in there, but you literally walked in with the cornerman bucket and everything, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm a one-stop shop. Wrap my hands, corner myself, finish the fight, all that.
Speaking of finishing the fights, wow. You have a fighter moving up, new coat of paint, going from 70 to 85, but they put him up against a veteran who can finish people, and, man, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Bryan. He's a veteran, too. We have silver UFC records. I think we both, if you look at who we fought, it's like we've lost to some guys that are tough, and then we beat a lot of tough guys that we probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? So, and I knew that could have been way tougher than that. So I'm glad I stuck to the game plan and got him out of there.
I know you're not just happy, but you have to be thrilled with the performance that you just broke him down. Explain to me what you guys saw on tape that you just honestly made it look so easy. No disrespect to Bryan, but you really just showed out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I'm not going to act like the size doesn't help me. Like you said, he's moving up from 70. And I'm, not even the biggest 85er, so it was nice to, be bigger than someone for once. But, again, I used my length. I pressured. And the big thing was getting the clean takedown and make sure I get his back flat to the mat. He did work up a couple times. Like I've been saying, since the fight got booked, he is really good at that. But it's just fighting smart, being patient, win the small battles that I need to win. And don't rush for the finish, because I've seen him, fight a lot of good guys and get out of bad spots because they run for the finish too quick. So it was more just get the position, control the wrist a lot. And then, for the rear naked, he doesn't have much of a neck, and he's tough anyway. So I knew I wasn't going to get a clean bite on it. So it was like, as long as I can get my arm around his head, below his nose, and I can lock my arms, I know I can finish.
Oh, no question, man. It was a beautiful finish, by the way. Classic. That's all you. And fighters talked about it. This card alone, Mike Davis being patient with his finish, the very first fight of the night, Chad being patient, smart pressure, he called it. That has to be part of your longevity in the sport, right? To where you could say, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing. And we know you. You make it tough, you make it dramatic, and you get guys out of there in rounds 2 or 3. That's so you right there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I know you couldn't tell by how young and fresh I look, but I'm kind of old for MMA, and I have probably more fights than most guys that are active right now. So, yeah, I think that's part of my longevity is trying to fight smart, fight efficiently. Knock on wood, I've never taken too much bad damage from a fight, and I plan to keep it that way because, like in boxing, they say it's about hitting and not getting hit. In MMA, it's about finishing the other guy and not getting your ass kicked. So if I can keep doing that, I think I'll have a long, healthy career.
Absolutely, man. Let's keep them coming. How soon do we get you back in there? You're not the call-out kind of guy, but any names interest you? How soon do we get you back in here, and what names? Who says, you know what, let me match up with this guy. That'll be a fun one. Honestly,
the middleweight division is in such a weird spot right now. I have no idea. There's some new guys. A lot of them are getting matched up. A lot of the top guys, not that I would fight them, but they're all in a weird spot too. So to give you an honest answer, I'd have to look at the roster and see what would even make sense. But timeline-wise, I definitely want to fight 3 times this year, minimum, maybe 4. My sister-in-law is getting married in September, so if I could fight July, August, or maybe even June, and then I can fight again after that, that would be ideal. But we'll see what the UFC has to say.
Are you obviously? Are you part of the wedding? Are you in the?
I'll be there. My little guy, he's going to be the ring bearer, so someone's got to wrangle him. You know what I mean?
That is so awesome, man. People are going to love that on the social media. Well, congrats on the win. You look fantastic, and can't wait to see you 3, 4, 5 times in there.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir.
Gerald, man, congrats on the win. A pretty important one, big one. I don't know if you know, but you tied Anderson Silva's record in the middleweight division for most finishes as a middleweight. I mean, what does that mean to you, man?
That's pretty cool. I mean, I got the most submissions at middleweight. I think I would have bumped up another spot all time to 4th or 5th or something out of most submissions, at any weight, and then tying Anderson Silva, that's awesome. And I still have all my wins by finish in the UFC, and it's over 10 wins, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about that. Is that something you take pride in, man? I mean, your whole career, 53 fights, only, 7 decisions? Kill or be killed with you, man.
Pretty much, yeah. If you watch my fights, that's generally how it goes. And, it's not just submissions. This is probably one of the few times that I went out there and like straight grappled somebody and put them in a bad spot and choked them, because usually we get in a stand-up battle, or I punch them in the face a lot first, and then makes choking them a lot easier.
Right. Has there been a most satisfying win, man?
I mean, the last one's always the most satisfying. I mean, that was definitely a good one. One of the few times that I came out and I was the favorite, like on everything, like almost always I'm the underdog. So I was like actually kind of surprised I was the favorite. I was in the red corner, all that stuff. And I fought like, all that stuff was accurate. So I'm very happy with that.
Why do you think that is, the underdog status following you around?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm too slow or something. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe now that I have a mustache, I'll change it a little bit, huh? Maybe that was
usually helps.
Yeah.
And last thing for me, man. I mean, you mentioned the middleweight division's weirdness. I want to get your thoughts on Bo Nickel and Brundage on the UFC 300 main card. People have been making a big thing about that. Any thoughts or anything?
I think it's great. You know what I mean? Like, Bo has a very storied career in wrestling, and it's not MMA, but it's not nothing. You know what I mean? And Brundage would be a step up in competition, so I feel like that's pretty fair. And if you want a bellyache about who deserves what or what record is this, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. You have to fight in an entertaining fashion, or you got to talk out your ass and be willing to do that part of it, one or the other. Whether anyone likes it or not, Bo Nickel's got a lot of hype. It makes sense to put him on UFC 300, and I don't really see a problem with it.
So kind of with that in mind, who do you think should fight for the title next?
Oh, man, I have no idea, because I just fought, so I really don't care about anybody else. No.
Fair.
Hopefully my buddy Brendan, if he has an impressive performance, he'd be a name to throw in the hat. I could see... it kind of depends on timing too, right? Like, Strickland did have a close fight. I could see them. The rematch would make sense. If they want to make a money fight pay-per-view, having Israel fight DDP would make sense. It just kind of depends on who's healthy when and willing to do whatever.
Sure. Well, congrats on yours, man.
Thanks.
The stash has to stay now, right?
Yeah. Now I got to keep it.
Hey, Gerald, it seemed like about 20 seconds before he went out there, it looked like he was trying to tap right before he went out. Did you notice that he was trying to tap? And did you notice when he went out before the ref stopped it?
I wasn't sure if he was trying to tap or like pull at my hands or something. So I was like, I'm just going to keep squeezing. And because at first he like fell to the side. It felt like he was going to try and like spin, because we were pretty sweaty in there. And if, you got a rear naked choke on someone, if they can get their shoulders to the mat, then they have a way out of the submission, or at least a better chance of getting out of it. So at first I was like, maybe he's going to tap. And then I was like, oh, maybe he's waiting for me to burn my arms out. And then all of a sudden I heard the gurgle, and I was like, I got him. So that was pretty much how that went.
Congratulations. Beautiful performance.
Thank you.
Was there any part where you were wanting to celebrate, or was it your inclination to, you went for his legs and tried to help him regain consciousness?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it is, but me and Herb Dean have this history together where when I fight someone and he refs, I like almost always choke him unconscious. So like at this point, I just expect him to go check on him. Like, let me pull his legs up to get the blood back to his brain, because when I let go, I didn't realize how, like, he probably was out for a hot second, and I had that locked in pretty tight. So when I saw him shaking, I was like, oh, geez, man, like, let me, help you out a little bit here.
Can you make any requests of the UFC that Herb Dean ref?
Oh, yeah, every time I'm going to be like, hey, give me that guy. Every time.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Just combine Herb with that mustache.
That's a winning formula. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, sir.